Hello everybody, Guzmatic here, and today I'm going to talk about the 6 new Mark II weapons that were added in the Doomsday Heist update for GTA Online. And so this is an episode in my series called GTA 5 Gun Guide, where we go through all the weapons in GTA Online, talk about the stats on these weapons and how to acquire them, as well as just giving a general review of all the weapons in GTA Online. And so this episode is essentially a follow-up to the last Mark II video, which came out after the Gunrunning update. And so there were 6 new ones that were added in the Doomsday Heist, and they are pretty similar to the ones that were added in the Gunrunning DLC. So to acquire these weapons, you will need either a mobile operations center or the Avenger in GTA Online with either the weapons customization bay or the vehicle and weapons customization bay. And also keep in mind that with a lot of these weapons, you will need research for a bunch of the attachments and liveries and all them. And so if you want to get those, you will need a gun running bunker and to acquire them through research. So let's talk about these new weapons. So there are 6 new ones, and those are the S&S pistol Mark II, the heavy revolver Mark II, the special carbine Mark II, the bullpup rifle Mark II, the Marksman rifle Mark II, and finally the pump shotgun Mark II. And so first off, let's talk about the first one, which is the S&S pistol, which I feel is probably the weakest of all of these, simply because the original S&S pistol isn't that crazy good or anything like that. So this weapon will get a damage increase up to 30 damage. The original is at 28 damage, which is alright. It will mean that it will take 8 to 11 shots to kill, which is alright, but at the same time, that's almost your entire magazine with this weapon, if you have extended mags at that. And I just don't really see the point in this gun. I mean, maybe somebody can find a use for it. You know, maybe if you outfit it with a certain attachment, it's crazy good, but it just so far, I'm not seeing the point in this gun. So yeah, not much to say about it. It's not really that good. Next up is possibly one of the best weapons that was added in this update, and that is the Revolver Mark II. And so this actually gets a pretty big damage increase to up to 200 damage, which is increased from its 160 that it was before. And so this means that it'll almost always be 2 shots to kill. Of course, you know, the rank may affect this and how many shots it'll take to kill, but with this, it's almost always a 2-shot kill. However, the different ammo types on this weapon will make it more consistently of a 1-shot kill. And so I would definitely suggest putting on the hollow point rounds on this weapon, because those, if you're shooting out other players, it will make the weapon more often a 1-shot kill, even out to pretty good ranges as well, as you can see here. I'd also suggest trying out the incendiary rounds and even the full metal jacket rounds. Both of these can also work pretty well. The incendiary rounds, they will always burn the target, and these are very useful in some of the new heist missions against some enemies that have a lot of health. And what it will also do is not just, you know, add extra damage to the weapon over time, it will also immobilize a lot of different enemies. Now, not players, but against AI, most AI, if they don't go down to that 1 shot, will most likely die to the fire. It may take a while, but especially if somebody's like behind cover, it's very useful to take them out with the fire bullets and then you finish them off. So yeah, that's very good. Also, the full metal jacket rounds are very good at taking out vehicles. The original heavy revolver, I think, had like a multiplier on it where it was better at taking out vehicles than most other weapons, and this one retains that, and with the full metal jacket rounds, it's even better. So I can definitely suggest that. Honestly, it kind of just depends on who you're fighting and what you're going up against, which is whenever you want to switch your ammo type. Also, another thing that makes the heavy revolver Mark II even better than the original is that it has a higher fire rate. As you can see in the background, you can see that the Mark II has a better time between shots of only 1.334 as compared to the original heavy revolver, which was 1.833. The final thing I would like to say about the heavy revolver Mark II is that it's not a complete upgrade. The one thing that I notice that can honestly make or break this weapon for you, whether you want to use it or not, is the range on it. So the original heavy revolver did not have any range drop off. Now, it did have a max range of 120 meters, but it did not have a range drop off. And what that means is pretty much with almost every other gun in this game, as the enemy that you're shooting out goes farther away, it will take more shots to kill. Whereas the heavy revolver, for some reason, didn't have a damage drop-off. So you could be 5 meters away, you could be 120 meters away. It will always be the same shots to kill. The Mark II revolver doesn't have that. From 20 meters to 120 meters, it will start losing damage. So at longer ranges, you will notice it will take more shots to kill. So, you know, if you are somebody who likes to use the revolver at long ranges, the heavy revolver original may even be a little bit better. You know, especially at longer ranges, it will do more damage than the Mark II. So just keep that in mind. You know, it's not the biggest deal, especially if you're using the revolver at closer ranges, but at longer ranges, it does have a damage fall off. So next up are the two assault rifles, the Special Carbine Mark II and the Bullpup Rifle Mark II. So let's start off with the Special Carbine Mark II, which gets a damage increase up to 32.5, which is a bit strange. The original Special Carbine only did 32 damage. And this is honestly, I think, the first weapon or one of the only weapons in the game that honestly has a 0.5 damage on it. I may be wrong, maybe there's something I'm missing here, but this means that it'll be 8 to 11 shots to kill with this weapon, which, you know, I mean, you're not getting a big increase with the damage here. This weapon, the original Special Carbine, is the exact same weapon as the Carbine Rifle. I can't really so honestly, I don't really recommend the Special Carbine Mark II, just because the original Carbine Rifle Mark II is essentially better in every way. Not by much, but it's still better than the Special Carbine Mark II. Next up is the Bullpup Rifle, which gets a damage increase of 1 damage from 32 all the way up to 33. It's not a big change, however, it does mean that in some select scenarios, against somebody over level 100, it will take 1 less shot to kill. This is very similar to the Carbine Rifle Mark II, and so this means it will take 8 to 10 shots to kill another player. And this is actually a pretty good increase. The Bullpup Rifle, in my opinion, before this update, was actually the worst weapon in the game. It is completely outclassed by the Advanced Rifle, and it was just not that good at all. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but compared to all the other assault rifles, it just didn't have any purpose. Now, it actually can be quite useful. Now, it does still get outclassed by the Advanced Rifle, except for one thing, and that is the heavy barrel. This attachment, in my opinion, makes this one of the better assault rifles in the game at the moment. If you don't know what the heavy barrel does, I do have a video on that, but essentially what it does is at the longer ranges, it will make your weapon do more damage. And so as you can see here, it will take 14 shots to kill without the heavy barrel at this range. However, it'll take only 11 with the heavy barrel. So while this doesn't increase the damage at close range, at longer ranges, which, you know, a lot of times in GTA Online you are at, you know, quite a bit of distance, this will decrease your time to kill, which is very useful. And I would honestly suggest getting the heavy barrel on pretty much any gun you can. So yeah, the Bullpup Rifle, I'm actually a big fan of this gun, and I really do enjoy using it. It's tied with the Advanced Rifle for the highest rate of fire. The next gun we're going to be talking about is the Marksman Rifle Mark II. This gets an increase of 10 damage, so it'll increase from 65 to 75. But one thing to mention about the Marksman Rifle is that, and this is the case for the original as well, but the Mark II, just gets more damage here, is that it has a network damage modifier. So this means that whenever you are shooting at another player in GTA Online, it will be doing 1.3 times as much damage. So this will bump up the damage to 104. The original Marksman Rifle gets a 90 damage whenever you're shooting at another player. So this is actually pretty good. However, it doesn't really decrease the shots to kill at all against another player. It'll still be 3 to 4 shots to kill another player. And another thing to mention is that even though you can put the heavy barrel on this thing, I don't really notice a big difference at longer ranges with it. Maybe at like extreme ranges. So yeah, the heavy barrel is an attachment you can use, but I don't think it actually affects the gun that much, at least with the Marksman Rifle. Another thing that is possible on this weapon is that you can put on medium scopes on it. So you can put on a reflex sight and an actual ACOG looking scope. And what this will do is it'll actually let you use it like a normal assault rifle. This means that you can lock onto targets. Now it will have a slow rate of fire compared to all the other assault rifles, and it will also have a low magazine count. However, it does do more damage than any other assault rifle in the game, and that's actually a pretty good thing. Keep in mind that it will also still use the sniper rounds. It will just, basically turn it into sort of like a DMR, which is actually pretty cool on this gun. And while it is fun to use, I don't know if I'd recommend it too much. I still think that the Marksman rifle is best used at longer ranges. So that's the Marksman rifle, a very fun weapon to upgrade, and honestly one of the more useful ones as well. So next up and finally is the Pump Shotgun Mark II. This gets a pretty substantial damage increase from 29 damage per pellet to 32 damage per pellet. Now that may not sound like much, but keep in mind that this is a shotgun, and that is only damage per pellet. With the pump shotgun, it is 8 different pellets that hit the target. So each one of those is doing 32 damage. So this means that if you hit the target up close and all the pellets hit, it'll be doing 256 damage. Now it used to do 238 with the original pump shotgun, and this is actually a pretty big increase because with the original shotgun, it will only kill an opponent up close in one shot if all the pellets hit, if they're below level 20. However, with the new Mark II, it'll increase that one-shot kill potential all the way up until they're below level 40. So that's not maybe the biggest increase. However, it will ensure more one-shot kills. It does mean that if the enemy is damaged or maybe if you shoot them with a shotgun, you won't need as many pellets to hit the next time you shoot at them. It's actually a pretty big increase. And also another thing that is cool on this weapon is some of the different attachments. And so you can get the Dragon's Breath shells, basically what are hollow point rounds for the shotgun, what are armor piercing rounds for the shotgun, and then even explosive rounds for the shotgun. Now when it comes to the Dragon's Breath shells, honestly, I don't really recommend these. While they are fun, the problem is that unlike the Heavy Sniper Mark II and the Revolver Mark II, is that not every single shot will light the enemy on fire. It seems to only be like every 3 or 4 shots I seem to get the enemy to be on fire. And I just don't really recommend it, as well as it doesn't seem to do much. Sure, lighting the enemy on fire is fun and all, but at the same time, the shotgun does so much damage that I don't really see the fire adding much to it. But I do think that the armor piercing rounds and the hollow point rounds are good, but you do need to know what you're fighting up against for those to be much more effective. And then finally is the explosive slugs. This will fire out essentially one bullet, so it's not actually really a shotgun anymore, and it will almost one-shot a lot of opponents. I haven't tested out on every single enemy. However, even other players, it will one-shot pretty much every other player. Maybe if they have armor or something like that, it won't. However, if they're not wearing armor, even if they're at level 100 or above, it'll still one-shot enemies. Keep in mind, though, that this is not a sniper round. It's not like the Heavy Sniper Mark II where you can shoot somebody across the map. No. It's essentially 40 meters and that's it. After that distance, you're essentially wasting ammo at that point. So don't try and use it like a sniper. And that's honestly one of the reasons why I wouldn't recommend this. It essentially turns the shotgun into something that's not a shotgun. And while it could be useful at taking out vehicles and stuff, I still think that the Heavy Sniper Mark II is much better for this. Of course, the Heavy Sniper Mark II doesn't get lock-on, so maybe there's reason to choose one or the other. Another problem that I do have with the explosive slugs on the shotgun, you essentially get 8 rounds in the mag. While that may sound good, if you die while you're using this weapon, if you have like a full magazine out, you're going to be losing a lot of ammo, and you can only hold about 40 rounds total of explosive slugs for this shotgun. You will be running through ammo a lot quicker, especially if you die a lot, and since you're up close to the enemy to even be using these explosive rounds, I'm not really feeling them. So those were all the Mark II weapons that were added in the Doomsday Heist. If you want to check out any more episodes in this series, of GTA 5 Gun Guide, then I will have a link in the description to that. I'd also like to thank Fun2 on the GTA forums for getting these weapon stats. I'll have a link in the description if you want to check out the full stats. But anyways, what are your thoughts on all these weapons in the comments? What is your favorite? And what are your thoughts on these Mark II weapons? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. Hope you enjoyed. Feedback is always appreciated. I'll see you guys in the next video.